Hi there, it's Nicole for Simon Says Stamp, and today I have a really quick shaker card created with the components from the July 2017 Simon Says Stamp card kit Summer Hello. When I saw this pattern paper from the Echo Park Summer Dreams paper pad that's included in the kit, I knew that it was one that I wanted to use for something. I absolutely loved it. And then I thought it would be fun to take the stamp images from the See You Soon stamp set and do some layered inking with StazOn ink on the acetate also included in the kit to create this shaker. So what I'm going to do first is I've die cut a background from white cardstock from the kit using that large stitched rectangle die. Then I'm taking the large and the next size smaller stitched rectangle dies and die cutting the background of my shaker and the frame from this pattern paper from the kit. I didn't want to lose a single piece of this paper because it really is my favorite. I love all the papers in the kit this month, but this one was by far my favorite. I'm always drawn to these where it looks like it's this sun or just kind of that glow with the bokeh effect. Always drawn to these. And so I'm going to use both of these components. Now I need to do some stamping on the acetate, but I definitely want to line it up. So I'm going to use this paper as kind of my guide or my background. So I did die cut the acetate from the kit. You could also just trim it down if you wanted to, because it's almost the size that you need here. But I did die cut it with that same large stitched rectangle, so it's exactly the same size as all of the rest of my components. And I'm going to take the clouds from the See You Soon stamp set, and the C is not like S-E-E, it's S-E-A, which I think is really cute and fun for a summer themed stamp set. And I'm going to lay out the two clouds. The thing about stamping on acetate, especially with StazOn because it's so sticky, is it's going to pick up the acetate every time. So you want to make sure and keep things where they need to go at all times, because otherwise it's going to not stamp exactly where you want it. So I'm inking up the clouds with white StazOn ink. This is going to be the first layer of inking on the acetate. So I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to have to readjust because it does stick, and I'm going to just press it again. I didn't even ink it up again. I just pressed it back down, and that looks great. I'm going to clean my stamps really good. I recommend using the Ultra Clean from Hero Arts. Simon Says Stamp has that cleaner as well, I believe, and I like the scrubber pad from Hero Arts. It gets these really clean, and then I like to take a stamp chamois and clean them off. Make sure any of that Ultra Clean residue is wiped off of the stamp before I use it again. I'm going to go ahead, line that up, and stamp it again up high, just one of them, off of the edge. Again, readjust, line it up, press it again just to make sure I get nice, good coverage. I'm going to go ahead and reposition this. And if I had been thinking, I would have stamped both of the clouds again at this point, but it was a work in progress. I wasn't exactly sure how many clouds I really wanted, so I went with the 3. Oftentimes I'll go with an odd number of accents, but once I get my greeting in place, and I just chose this awesome summer greeting here from the stamp set. There's several, but this is Sending a Summer Hello. I just loved it. And then I'm going to take the little birds also from the stamp set, and I want to stamp those as well. So I'm just going to lay those out so that I can ink them all up at the same time. All of the stamping for this shaker is done on the acetate cover, so it's never going to be covered up by the shaker material. There's really nothing on the inside of the shaker other than this beautiful paper, which I didn't really want to cover up all that much because I think it's stunning on its own. I am inking up the greeting and the birds with black StazOn ink. This is where the layering comes in, and you're going to see how awesome the StazOn layers over the black StazOn layers over the white. I think it looks phenomenal. It's so exciting to watch a card come to life like this, and especially such an easy design. This was a card that when I took the kit out of the box and I was so excited, this is the first thing that popped into my head. And I love when cards just come together just as you see them. I think that's always, it's kind of satisfying, I guess is what I want to say. So here I'm going to go ahead and put 2 more birds down here. Plus I have my cloud, and I'm just going to carefully ink up the cloud with white, ink up the birds with the black, and stamp them at the same time. Anytime I can do multiple stamping all at once, I try to do that. And this little cloud's going to just kind of peek along the bottom edge of that shaker frame. Readjust. I'm going to just press that one more time. And there is what my acetate looks like. The great thing about StazOn, it dries almost immediately. You're not going to have to worry about it rubbing off or anything like that on the acetate sheet. Next, I am going to take the frame portion now and put some nice strong adhesive. I'm using the Glue Glider Pro adhesive around the outer edges. It's a pretty thin frame, so I'm trying to be very careful. Make sure there's no adhesive that's going to show when I put the acetate behind it. Now the acetate piece is going to go behind this, so part of the clouds is not going to be visible on the frame portion, if that makes sense. When I flip it over, I think you'll see a little better. So there it is, all framed up, and then there's the background behind and the frame that's going to go on top of this. I've got a white top fold card base here that I'm going to use. And then I'm going to put some nice strong adhesive on the back of this panel. And what I really should have done is used the frame as a guide before I put the transparency on. If you don't, if you're like me and you tend to do this a lot and you forget, I'm going to line it up with a little Post-it tape and hold these 2 pieces together so you can see they're perfectly lined up. I'm going to take the shaker backer, carefully position that, press down the middle portion, pull out my Post-it tape, and the background is going to be perfectly lined up. There is some foam tape included in the kit, so you can easily make a shaker, which I think is phenomenal. These are very thin pieces of foam tape, so I'm grabbing 2 strips at a time. I don't know if you can tell very well in the video, but they're really, really thin. And I thought it would be a little easier to stack these on top of each other if I went ahead and used 2 all the way around. And then what I'm going to end up doing is adding another layer on top of this. I find with shakers, if you want the material to really be able to shake, that it's best to go ahead and double it up. Otherwise, this is not very high profile foam tape. So even when you double it, it's not going to be so super high that you're going to have a hard time putting it in an envelope and sending it. Especially when the shaker is not the entire size of an A2 card. Sometimes if they're an A2 size shaker, they can be a little dicey getting them into a standard envelope. So this is actually a tiny bit smaller, and I've never had any trouble getting them to fit into an envelope when they're a little bit smaller than A2. Even using all of this foam adhesive and doubling it up, I used it on another card that I'll be sharing on the Simon Says Stamp blog tomorrow. Even with using all this foam tape, I still have foam tape left, which I think that just goes to show you how many projects you can get from it. And I tend to be pretty generous when using my foam tape. If you use a little bit less than me, you'll have even more left over for other cards. Once I have this all pieced together, I'm going to take a powder deactivator tool and go around the inside edges. That's going to help keep the shaker material from sticking. Included in the kit is this bag of Simon exclusive Moonshine confetti mix, and I'm using the whole bag for my shaker. This is a big shaker, so I really felt like it needed a lot of material in it, and this is going to be perfect. It's just the right amount. I'm going to peel off all the backing paper now from my shaker. Take the backer to the front, and I'm going to just line that up perfectly, press really good all the way around, and flip it over. And there is my shaker with the awesome shaker material. Super quick, super easy, and I think just a really fun summer themed card for anyone. I'll adhere that to the front of my top fold card base, and my summer shaker card using the Simon Says stamp. July 2017 Summer Hello Kit is all finished. Thanks for joining me today for this card featuring the July Simon Says stamp card kit. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more cards featuring Simon Says stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.